All-Star, we're talking Dwight Howard here on Jamey. Welcome to all of you. Lauren Shehadi alongside Jamey Eisenberg. Jamey, an unprecedented number of votes for Dwight Howard. It's really his playground, the All-Star game.
Yeah, it is. You know, you look at the way that Dwight Howard has played this year. Clearly the best center in the Eastern Conference. Obviously among the best centers in the NBA, playing really well. You look at the rest of this list, Dwayne Wade, Allen Iverson, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. Dwayne Wade is somebody we'll talk about on Monday when we look at fantasy All-Stars. But Allen Iverson really probably the biggest surprise on this list because, as we know, not playing at an All-Star level, but this is a popularity contest. When you talk about the Western Conference, Kobe Bryant, Chris Paul, great backcourt. You love to have that on your fantasy team. Tim Duncan, Amari Stoudemire, Yao Ming. I think Stoudemire is probably the biggest surprise on this list. But again, as we get into fantasy All-Stars on Monday, we'll look at his teammate, Shaquille O'Neal, who probably should be deserving of an All-Star berth as well.
It's a popularity contest. We should have gotten in there.
We should, especially you have such nice hair.
Thank you, Jamey. I appreciate it. Inside joke. It's not really funny, actually. All right, Eric Gordon benefiting from Davis's injury. He's only going to get better with the more playing time he's getting.
Absolutely. You know, you look at the guys that we have on this start list. Rajon Rondo, somebody I spoke to. There will be a story on CBSSports.com about Rondo, so check that out. Russell Westbrook, Eric Gordon, two rookies playing at a high level right now. Gordon, as you mentioned, taking advantage of the extra playing time because not only Baron Davis's injury, Zach Randolph, Marcus Camby, Chris Kaman, all these guys out, so that's opened the door for Gordon to become more of a scorer. The assists, not as high as we would like to see, but still there. You look at the rookies playing at this level right now, O.J. Mayo, Derrick Rose, Westbrook, and now Gordon. Great guards this class that has produced, and so far they're being very good fantasy options.
All right, they're good fantasy options. Is Richard Hamilton a good fantasy option? Are we seeing fantasy owners bench him at this point?
Well, you know, I think they are, you know, and for obvious reasons, because he's coming off the bench for the Pistons. You know, you look at the way that Detroit has sort of changed itself following the trade of Chauncey Billups. Iverson and Rodney Stuckey are the starting backcourt for Detroit. Since Hamilton got hurt, now that he's back, they're going to continue to bring him off the bench. That's really lowered his fantasy value a little bit, not to mention the fact that the Pistons have some tough matchups coming into this week. They have to face Boston and Cleveland. That's not going to lend itself for a lot of the Pistons being good fantasy options in this scoring period.
Is Stojakovic a good scoring option? He's got the range. He's doing it up. You're going to start him this week?
Yeah, you have to. You know, you look at the way that Page is playing, dealing with the back injury himself, but he's playing through it and doing a great job. But he's stepping up now with David West and Tyson Chandler dealing with injuries. West and Chandler both missing time at this point, which has allowed Stojakovic to become more of a rebounder. We know the scoring is going to be there for him, but somebody has to help Chris Paul provide scoring, provide rebounding, move the ball a little bit. Stojakovic doing that role along with a guy like Rasul Butler, but Stojakovic definitely worth starting at this point. Get him in your lineup at this time.
Jamey, I'm not trading Josh Howard. Do you believe me?
I do believe you.
So he's not going to Miami?
I don't know if he's going to Miami, but I don't think he should be in your fantasy lineup for a couple reasons. One, not playing very well right now. Howard struggling, you know, dealing with this injuries. He's playing through the wrist injury, but he's not playing at a high level because I think you see the trade rumors could be getting to him. He's not the focal point of the offense in Dallas because, as we know, Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, these guys are all carrying the load for the Mavericks. But I think you look at Howard just not playing very well right now. And the reason we have guys like Howard, Jason Terry, Eric Dampier as sits this week, only 2 games for Dallas coming in this scoring period. So not going to give you the type of production you expect, especially someone like Howard who's struggling.
Okay, he may be staying, he may be going, but he's getting out of your fantasy lineup. You know, on our site, Jamey, the other day, there was a screen grab of Andrew Bynum with this big old smile. You know, if I was scoring 42 points, I'd be smiling too.
Yeah, not only that, he came back against Washington with an even better game in limited minutes. Not the same type of production, but still getting it done for fantasy owners when you look at the double-doubles are there. Andrew Bynum just taking his game to a new level. Best 2-game stretch of his career. Now, interesting, though, he did it against the Clippers and the Wizards. 2 very bad teams. We'll see how that carries over when he starts facing some tougher competition. But still, this is the type of production we like to see from Andrew Bynum. We know Kobe Bryant's going to get his points. Paul Gasol going to be there. Lamar Odom going to give you contributions off the bench. But Andrew Bynum is very key for fantasy owners, especially at this time, Lauren, because you're looking at so many injuries to centers. Andrew Bogut. We talked about Randolph, Camby. So many guys banged up. Drew Gooden, Big Z. All these guys missing time. So if you have a guy like Andrew Bynum, you start him and you get the type of production like this, you're getting a lot of fantasy victories.
And he's not going to give you 40 points every game, but he's still going to give you...
If he gives you the production against the Wizards, the 23 and 15, you're going to take that every game.
Pretty good, absolutely. What about Jermaine ONeal? Is he still going to be a come-off-the-bench kind of guy?
I think so. You know, you look at the way that O'Neal is playing right now, another guy like Josh Howard dealing with trade rumors to Miami. You know, you talk about what the Raptors have looked like. We talked about this in a previous video. The way Andrea Bargnani is playing has really allowed Jermaine ONeal to take a back seat along with Chris Bosh and the way that the Raptors are sort of going about their front court at this time. So I think you look at O'Neal, not someone you want to get in your fantasy lineup at this point, either at forward or center. And as we know, this trade could possibly happen at any point with him going to Miami for Shawn Marion. There was a report in South Florida that they exchanged medical papers, which is typically a sign that things are starting to get in motion. But I still think you look at the way Jermaine ONeal is playing, He could miss a couple games, dealing with some injuries, and again, not putting up the type of production that you would expect from a guy of his caliber.
And like you said, we'll get into Fantasy All-Stars more on Monday. So make sure you tune in for that. For Jamey Eisenberg, I'm Lauren Shehadi. Thanks, guys.